Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you part 6 of a 5-part series. Originally this series was only supposed to contain 5 videos, but a lot of you guys pestered the hell out of me, so I gave you an additional video, which was the Ash Wastes basing video. Now we're going to do part 6, which is bashing out one of the stunning pieces of Ash Waste scenery in, I don't know, about 10-15 minutes of brush time will get each one of those platforms painted, so you could get the entire set of Ash Waste scenery done in an evening, which would make getting into playing the game even easier. So stick around and I hope you guys learn something. Okay, so I assembled one of the most basic structures from the new Ash Waste scenery. I didn't glue any of the extra bits onto the side of it, all of the canisters and like storage and stuff like that. I wanted to keep those bits separately so I could just focus on the color of the actual structure itself, and then I sprayed it all chaos black. The next thing I did was give it an all over coat. I used a large flat dry brush for this because I wanted it to be quite a thin coat, and then I just basically went over the entire structure with Rhinox Hide. This is by far the slowest, most tedious part of the painting process, but even this stage isn't slow and tedious. I honestly do believe that if I had the entire Ash Waste scenery in front of me, you could get it done in maybe 2 hours, which I think is a pretty good amount of time to get that entire set of scenery knocked out. All I'm trying to do is get into all the nooks and crannies and give the base coat of this miniature a nice earthly tone, which will help with the kind of rust and stuff that we're going to build up to. And this is what you're left with. Nice, smooth, brown coat. The next thing I'm going to do is move over to Ryza Rust. And we are going to stipple this all over the miniature. Some of you keen-eyed people who have watched a bunch of my videos are wondering if this is going to be the exact same tutorial as the orc scenery from one of the Kill Team games. It's similar, but there's definitely a couple of other steps to kind of shift it in a different direction. So the orc buildings would have been all rust all the time. They would have been metal structures, whereas this building would at one stage have been this kind of pristine thing with a nice paint coat on it. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it look as though it had a nice paint coat at some stage, but most of that has been worn away by sandstorms and other weather phenomena and stuff like that. So like I said, you stipple on orange Ryza Rust all over the structure until it looks something like this. This gives it that nice weathered, rusted look. And now we're going to move on to what color it used to be. So you can basically choose any color you like here, anything that suits you, whatever you want it to be, a nice cream color or green or blue. I like the idea of something on like a desert planet to be more reddish. So I have Mephiston Red. I've switched down to a medium dry brush, and I'm giving it a very light dry brush all over. I'm putting a bit of pressure on the bristles to still basically give the miniature coverage, but it's going to be quite transparent. As you can see, all those rust marks are still showing through the red. And this is by no means an all over coat. I'm not trying to cover all of the parts with this. I'm going to leave all the recesses, that dark brown rust and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm just trying to give that implication that it was this nice red building, and the weather and lack of maintenance on these things has been detrimental to the look and the facade of this structure. So just follow it through quite like this. Don't worry too much about having specific parts be specific colors or anything like that. If you go a little bit too heavy one part, a little bit too light the other, it's just going to add to that effect that more parts are weathers than others. When it's done, you should have something like this. I didn't choose to do the structure, the support structure holding the building up, as I didn't think that would be red. I thought that would be kind of a metallic color, so I left that as the brown rusty color. I just did the main hab bit. I then moved over to Leadbelcher, and we're going to dry brush this all over the miniature, and this is going to act like fresh scrapes and scratches and stuff on all the corners and edges of the building. This really does pull the brown, the rust, and the red all together as one. It's a nice little step. It's one of those steps that I call like cheating painting. It's such a quick and easy technique, but the extra result that it gives you is actually quite big, and it does take this to the next level of painting. As you can see, there's no real rhyme or rhythm to it.
You just have most of the paint removed from your brush, and you're giving it a nice dry brush all over. And just like the red, if you go too heavy on some parts and too light on the other, that's fine, that's just going to add to it. And this is the result after the dry brush. I'm going to show you a little bit around the arch of the building now, show you a few other bits and pieces. As you can see, it does add that, like I spent a lot of time meticulously edge highlighting parts of this building with silver when in fact I did not. You can also go to all of the other bits that you hadn't painted. So for instance, there's this weather vane part here, and there's like an antenna on the other side, which I just left black during the first few stages of painting. I just hit this with the dry brush of silver now. Very quick, very simple. I've said it in other videos before, but in case this is one of your first videos with me, I always feel that scenery is meant to be a backdrop for miniatures. You're not trying to, or I personally am not trying to make the buildings as detailed as miniatures. I think that when you walk up to a tabletop full of models and scenery, that you should stop and your eyes should focus on the miniatures, not the buildings. The models should not get lost on a table of scenery. The scenery should just accentuate the miniatures and the game that you're trying to play. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that statement. Do you think that I'm right with that? That scenery is there just to accentuate the miniatures around it? Or whether you guys spend as much time and effort on your buildings as you do your scenery. This is it with the silver dry brush all over. I actually quite like how this turned out. I think it's actually a really beautiful color. The roof is removable, so I've done the same thing with the inside, gave it that rough and ready look. And this is the top part all done. I do think that's a lovely color. I think it does suit the whole idea of some chemical ash desert, corroding away all the metallics and stuff like that. And we're going to do 2 quick detail steps. I mean extremely quick, just add a little bit of extra detail to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is get warp lightning contrast. This is another stage where you could choose a bunch of different colors. If you want your lights to be red, or you want your lights to be blue, or you want your lights to be green, just pick the appropriate contrast, Talazar blue or anything like that, and just paint over all of the lights. Because we've given it the silver dry brush, the crossbars on the lights are already going to be bright silver, so the green is going to settle into all the nooks and crannies, and it's going to look like a nice light. I don't even need to go back over the crossbars with silver as if the lights are turned off. I literally just give them 1 coat of the contrast warp lightning. The last thing I'm going to do with the scenery piece here is I'm going to get a bit of contrast black Templar. And there's just certain cables and certain pistons and stuff on the miniature that I'm just going to break up the monotony of all of this color with some black. So there's this nice cable rig part here. It's just contrast black Templar all over that. And then, like I said, there's these like support piston parts. I'm not sure whether that's so the building can move a little bit in the like sandstorms and stuff, or just how they erect the building easily. But yeah, I just broke those up a little bit, act as if they were like the greased piston parts that they would be. Quick coat of black Templar. And from there, I call this building complete. Like I said, there's a bunch of extra bits and pieces that you guys can paint up and stick onto the sides. I just wanted to keep the video as basic as possible to help you guys kind of slay the giant pile of grey that you do get with this box set and get you playing games of Necromunda Ash Wastes as quickly as possible. I'm super pleased with the result of this. I cannot wait to get the rest of my scenery bashed out, gather on a tabletop for games of 40k or Necromunda. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Okay guys, so I really hope you like the standard I took the scenery to. You and I both know that there's a million extra bits and pieces on the kit, like the canopy that goes over the front and like containers and stuff that stick off the side. All of these things are very easy to paint and stick on. I just chose to show you guys the very basics of getting the middle structure done, and then you can add all the wazzy gubbins you like to your buildings and moving forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give it a like. If you have any questions about anything that I did or anything I've done in any previous videos and you want to ask me, throw it in the comments below. I will get back to each and every one of you guys. And if you saw real value in what I did, hit that subscribe button and follow along with my journey. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.